Hey there, I picked up this 20-gallon parts washer from Harbor Freight. I'm just gonna assemble it right now and I wanna show you how I'm doing it and some tips and tricks I used along the way. Let's get into the video. Okay, I've started assembling it. I have all the four legs already mounted. I flipped the tub upside down so that I can easily mount the legs. When you're mounting the leg, you just have to make sure the leg goes outside this mounting bracket. Otherwise, this will look ugly from the outside. So if you do this, it'll look something like this. One thing I noticed in the manual, the washer, it's a locking washer. It's actually shown next to the screws instead of the bolt. But I prefer to put it on the bolt side, I mean the nut side. Just like you can see the black washer and then the nut. It's a 10 mm nut. I use a socket on one end and a screwdriver on the other end and tighten it. Next, it's the tray that needs to be mounted. So if you can see here, the original assembly instruction calls for mounting it halfway, like at a certain height from the bottom of the leg. But I'm just going to move it to the down so that I'll have like huge space from here to here to put stuff on. So that'll act as like a bottom tray and there will be nothing else in between and then the top at the top. So this is the tray. I just placed it at the top. Basically, it's upside down, so ideally it goes to the bottom of the whole unit. So I just placed it and put the legs inside the tray, and this is the lip of the tray, and then the legs are inside, tucked in inside on all four corners. I'm just thinking if I have to do it this way or put the legs outside and put the tray inside the legs. The other way to mount this is to keep the legs outside and then put the tray inside. I'm just still debating between this look or the one I showed previously. Let's see. I think I have decided how I'm going to do this. It is going to be, the tray is going to be just be placed over here inside all four legs without any mounting or screws. That way later if I decide to use the bottom, which I didn't show earlier, I was going to put it on one of the Harbor Freight moving dollies, and I just picked it up. This is like a 19-inch by 30-inch wheel dolly, like it's a four-wheel dolly, something like this, but it's a little bigger. And what I'm thinking is if I mount the legs and then just leave the tray hanging there inside the legs, I can later move the tray up and mount it anywhere I want in the later stage. That way the whole unit can be mounted through the dolly, to the dolly through legs, and then the tray can act as a shelf for now and it can be moved up and down later point if I need to. Okay, now I just have to drill some holes through the legs, all four legs, and then mount it to the dolly using screws, and then I'll be mostly done with the bottom side of the assembly process. Now to make the unit centered on the dolly, what I've done is I've used a ratchet strap to tighten all four legs so that it squeezes and conforms to the dimensions of the tray. I didn't apply a lot of pressure, but it's just enough to hold all of them close to the tray or tugging the tray. After that, I centered the whole unit on the dolly and used some markers to draw lines of the boundaries of the legs. As I hope you can see it here. So this kind of marks the boundary, and I've done that on all four sides so that what I'm planning to do is I'll flip this upside down, drill 4 holes or like whatever it takes on each leg, and then bring it back up. So I'm going to use the marking to line up the whole unit once I have drilled the holes, and I'll use the screws to secure them. So the reason I did this is when I want to put the screws inside and secure it, I won't have the tray in the way. So that's why I have to make sure I have the marking so that I can put it in the same exact spot once it is ready to be mounted. So you can see the marking on all four corners of the dolly. This is where the unit is going to sit. And this is the dolly that I'm going to use for this. As you can see here, I have 2 holes per leg and I have 8 holes that will be used to secure the washer to the dolly. When I drilled the holes, I left the tray attached to the leg through the using the ratchet strap, just kind of transferring the same hole through this tray. That way later in the future, if I need to put the screw through this tray, I can do that. But anyway, I think for now I'll just leave the tray hanging in there without the screws. Now all I have to do is flip the whole unit upside down and place it on the dolly and line it up with the markings we already made and secure it with the screws. I plan to use some wood screws, number 10 size and 1-inch screws. I think that should be plenty enough to hold this to the dolly. Like I mentioned, I've used number 10 1-inch wood screws to secure all 4 legs. And I think it feels really solid. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. And I just have to place the tray at the bottom and then go for the next step. I drop the tray at the bottom. It feels really solid. And next step is to get the pump and the inside tray set up. This is the pump assembly and it is the easiest thing to assemble here in this whole setup. We just have to insert this section through that hole in the tub, and then the lip under this will hang on to the lip of the tub. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to do it now. It is assembled. It's like a pretty easy thing to do, and it's also kind of solid in here. I don't see any movement or anything. I think I like the fit of this. And then yeah, all you have to do is just plug this to your power connector and you're good to go. I already placed the parts tray here and the parts bin. All I have to do is just have to plug the hose and then pour the liquid. This is the flexible hose we have to use, and it has a threaded end here with O-ring. Just make sure the O-ring is there before you put it. So all I have to do is just put it there and then tighten it, and it should be secure in place. I just hand tighten the hose and then snug it as tight as possible. I think it should be good enough. Like many recommendations on the internet, I found this parts washing liquid to be more widely used with the Harbor Freight washers. So I picked it up from Tractor Supply. Like this is like a 5-gallon can. I have like 2 of them. So totally 10-gallon worth of washing liquid I'll be pouring into it. In summary, I like the overall build quality of this. I don't know about the pump, how long it's going to last, but the rest of the stuff and then the paint and everything, it looks pretty professionally done. And I like the fact that I have the whole thing on dolly so that I can move it around the garage. At this point, I'm not planning to do any mods that people do. There are like a lot of tons and tons of videos on YouTube on different mods that people do. The common one, like adding an oil filter or like a fluid filter, external filter to filter out the debris from the washing liquid and then send it back to the hose. I'll probably do it in future, but for now I'll see how this goes. I've also not modified the drainage bolt. Okay, I think it's currently the one that came from the factory. I don't see a need to remove it at this point. I'll just start using the washer and figure out what I want to do. The power button is over here on the side. Just turning this on starts the pump. This is it. We have our hose which we can move and clean the parts we want.